Are you proud of the man that you have become? Do you admire the actions and behaviors that you express every single day? Because I believe that is what a man needs, to feel proud of who he is, of the character that he has developed, of the skills that he has put into service to something greater than himself. Because oftentimes we are conditioned to believe that there is some external carrot, some reward that once we achieve, we will be happy. And happiness is really this elusive state that I think is fleeting, because we think that when we are successful, when we make a certain amount of money, when we achieve a certain type of body, when we have a certain type of relationship, then we will be happy. But what if happiness is not really the true measure of our overall well-being? What if what is really needed is to admire the person that we have become and to feel proud of the character that we have developed? Because oftentimes we confuse happiness with pleasure. Oh, I want to do what makes me happy. Okay, eating burgers makes me happy. Okay, eating ice cream makes me happy. I like playing video games all day. That makes me happy. But what if it is really something that allows you to experience pleasure in the moment, but it destroys your well-being in the long term? And you can hear this dog barking behind me, and he agrees with me because he is proud of the character that he has to protect the territory that he is in. And Wes Watson, someone who I look up to and admire, he says to become the man that you admire and then give him to the world. That is the purpose of our existence on this planet. And I agree with him, because when we don't feel like doing something, for example, you wake up in the morning, you don't feel like going to the gym, and then at that moment of decision is when your destiny is shaped. Because if you choose to stay in bed, that feels good in the moment, but over an extended period of time, the second order consequence is that you do not admire yourself. But when you don't feel like getting out of the bed and you go and follow through that workout, I'm sure you agree that there is never a workout that you feel worse after than you did before, because you are demonstrating a behavior that you admire. You are cultivating a character that you can be proud of. And that is really what a man needs, to feel proud of himself through the development of his skills, through the development of his character. And the Greeks would say eudaimonia, and we actually get the word happiness from this Greek word eudaimonia. And the beauty of the English language is that it is very simple. We don't have conjugations, and that is something that takes away from the precision, but the benefit is that we can all speak it, we can all understand it, and it is simple enough for a lot of people to communicate in that language. But like I said, it takes away from the precision. So English comes from the Romance languages, the French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, etc. And the Romance languages come from Latin, and then Latin comes from Greek. So when we look back at these ancient languages, they talk about eudaimonia, right? The Stoics say that to live a good life is to live with eudaimonia. And eudaimonia comes from the two words eu and daimon, and that literally translates to good soul. And the Stoics said that in order to live with eudaimonia, we must live with arete, which again, it's difficult to put into exact English language because it's a very deep word, but it translates to something along the lines of excellence, to express the highest version of ourselves on a moment-to-moment basis. Because at the end of the day, when you don't have a good soul, it's almost as if there is an internal system, an internal dialogue, an internal scorekeeping system that determines whether or not you are showing up as the person that is proud of himself or is not proud of himself. And the way that you are proud of yourself is by demonstrating admirable traits, admirable skills, and developing your character. And this is why I've had an issue sometimes with the spiritual realm or the spiritual community, where we talk about letting go of your ego, transcending your ego. And I think there's definitely something to be said about that, because oftentimes we get attached to this false conception of who we are, and then we exhibit behaviors to maintain that sense of image that we have. But then there's also something to be said that in order to give up your ego, you must first have an ego worth giving up. because if you haven't developed to a certain extent, then you're giving up something that doesn't have much value. Whereas when you develop yourself into a person of high moral stature and character and skills, and then you give that up, then it's a totally different perspective, because you have become a man that you admire. And then I can't speak from that perspective. I haven't achieved that sense of enlightenment. Yes, I've experienced enlightened moments, but enlightenment is beyond my realm of understanding at this point. And that's why I believe that what a man needs is to feel proud of himself, and the way that he feels proud of himself is by exhibiting behaviors that are admirable, by doing hard things, by cultivating his character, like lifting heavy weights. Maybe I like lifting body weights, doing hard body weight exercises, by going to the martial arts gym, by showing up when he fails in his business again and again and again. And there is that whole concept of, you want it to be hard, because then that is what makes it so much more valuable. You want getting a strong and muscular body to be hard, otherwise everyone else would have it, and if everyone else had it, it wouldn't be as valuable. So what a man needs is to feel proud of himself, and the way he does it is by expressing behaviors that are admirable.